Another part of our city council meeting is the public input portion of the evening. You can come up and you can speak on any topic that you feel is important. We'd ask you if it's an agenda item later on, we'd ask you to wait for that particular agenda item. But otherwise, come on up, introduce yourself. All we ask is just tell your name to the people of this town, and if you could keep your comments to 5 minutes or less, we'd appreciate that. Welcome. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. There was a gentleman that was going to give a presentation.
Introduce yourself to the...
Oh, I'm sorry. you say. I'm I.L. Weiderman from Sioux Falls. Sorry about that. There was a gentleman going to make a presentation here a few weeks ago about the event center, and he had forgotten one of his instruments to make that presentation. When he got ready to make the presentation a week or so later, he was arrested, so he couldn't make it. He was lost in that great big monstrosity of a jail here in town for 6.5 hours, and he was supposed to be on a PR. Nobody knew where he was at for 6.5 hours until the meeting was over. Then he was able to PR out. I don't understand that. As I've told a number of you before, I've been threatened a number of times for showing up at this meeting and speaking against things that I didn't believe were right. I believe this has become a scare tactic of this administration to scare people from coming up here and talking at this podium. I'm not scared of anybody. I don't care who you are. I will get up here and say something if I think it's wrong. This scare tactic has to stop. And another thing that I found out today, the people that have the civil matters that they get cited for, if they want to appeal it, they have to post a $350 bond. I think that's absurd. There's a lot of people that get a citation. They can't afford to come up with $350 to appeal something that they don't think is right. And the other thing is, as the head of the administration, you personally told the city they had plenty of funds, nothing was going to have to be cut with the event center. First thing that's cut is handicap transportation. That is wrong. If the city has so much money, let them keep with the paraplegic transportation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Weiderman. And folks, normally I don't do this, but on behalf of the council, I've only been here 4 years, a little over 4. We've never turned anybody away from speaking at this meeting, and I don't think there's ever any plans to do that. Everybody has the opportunity to engage the council. The only limitations that have ever been put on anybody coming forward is that, again, we've asked them to just give their name, just so we have that for the record. And then secondly, we've only asked that they keep the comments to 5 minutes or less, which generally people just adhere to, but we also will give additional time if we believe that they're speaking on behalf of a group of folks. And then if there's one other thing that we've maybe asked on some of these evenings is we've asked to have separate topics to make the meetings more productive, that you don't repeat the same thing over and over again. But otherwise, and again, I'm not going to counter Mr. Weiderman because he's been a loyal person who has spoken on behalf of this body. But I will let everybody know there is absolutely no one that is turned away from speaking in front of the city council. And in fact, if there's anybody fighting to have you speak in front of the city council, it's this city council. They want to hear from you. And yes, it's this mayor, and we'll continue to do so. Is there anybody else who wants to speak?
However, Mr. Mayor,
yes,
if I may,
Councilor.
I think something needs to be said at this point about threats, if you will, if that's what I would call it, or in implication of saying that we would have somebody picked up, yes, so that they couldn't be here. There is no way that that's happened. At least I don't believe you did that. I know I didn't, and I can't believe that unless you have evidence of something like that that you can bring with you, please don't bring that kind of whatever you want to call it, to this board, this body, because I won't sit back and take it.
Councilor Rolfing, and again, folks, we normally, I apologize, we normally don't engage after someone gives public testimony. We normally don't do that. But in this particular case, I need you folks to understand, absolutely, you're all invited to speak in front of this body. The council fights for it, I fight for it, and will continue to do that. Would anybody else like to engage the council? Welcome.
Good evening. I'm Penny Olson.
Thank
I am
you.
part of a committee that is speaking for those that maybe can't speak for themselves.
Thank you.
And it is involving paratransit. And if you think this is redundant after the previous statement.
No, absolutely not.
Okay. I have a map here, and I'm just going to show it because I didn't make copies. We don't have a budget line in the group that I work with, so we try to keep our costs fairly inexpensive. But we made a map of what is proposed for paratransit. It's going to be cut, and it's up for your discussion, and I believe that will be next week. And I actually kind of mapped it out. This is about where paratransit will be after you make the changes. And I'll put it out here for you to see as well. And if you notice that paratransit will no longer...
Ma'am, what we'll do is we'll actually put it up on the screen, and so you can continue to engage the public, and then everybody can see. Okay?
That would be great.
So just continue on, please.
Great. And if you will notice that when it goes south, it's going to affect a lot of the apartments, and you know, most of you know where those apartments are. There's a lot of people there that are not going to be able to use paratransit. They're not going to be able to get to the event center. They're not going to be able to get out to Sanford. There's no route out there. So we're just feeling that this is just wrong. This is just wrong. They should be able to find the money. They talk about increasing the fares for paratransit and for the bus. And it seems if we could just have better awareness of how important public transportation is. Most cities use this all the time, and I know that Sioux Falls is not really utilizing our transit system, and it would be so much more effective if it would. And maybe if money could get dumped into a small portion of just getting out there and making the public, hey, you know, look, ride for a month for free. Maybe it would get better utilized, and that money would easily pay for the amount of money it's going to take to keep paratransit going. I was a social worker for the state for over 20 years, and I worked with individuals that were disabled and elderly and how much they needed paratransit. And family members, church members, doesn't always happen. They're alone in the world, you know, and they don't have a way to get around. And I would just say that we really need we need to continue to keep the paratransit, but above and beyond all that, the 211 helpline has identified transportation as the #1 unmet need in our city. And it seems with our budget, we should be able to do something. I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Folks, would anybody else want to engage the council? Oh, sir, welcome.
Council, Mayor, I'm Michael Christensen, and thank you for letting me come speak with you today. I need help with bicycling in Sioux Falls, and I have two messages for you, Council and Mayor, tonight. First is on-street riding, if done predictably, visibly, safely, and courteously, is far safer than sidewalk riding. Sidewalk riding can be safe if the rider rides at pedestrian speeds so that it's easier to meet the legal requirements to stop at all intersections and yield to all traffic in the intersection. At pedestrian speeds, it's also easier for the rider to acknowledge the reality that at every intersection and every driveway, there could be cars coming from up to 4 directions, with drivers in them that are looking on the road for cars, not on the sidewalks. City government must stop believing that sidewalk riding is safer than on-street riding. Any discomfort with this message due to driver inconvenience, driver or rider incompetence, or anything else is a fear you must resolve for yourself. I pledge to you I am here to help, but it must be resolved. Message 2. This city experiences a fatal car-bike crash roughly every 3 years. I'm sure every time this happens, the question is raised, what is the city doing to improve safe bicycling? Currently, the response has been to defer the question to Sam the planner. To be sure, Sam is great and the information he provides about safe riding is solid, but Sam has done his job. In the next 12 months, you will be presented with a 2015 bike plan, and you will likely approve it. 7 years ago, Sam wrote, and you approved the 2007 plan. It's time to open the plan. Oh, here's my name. I sit on a lot of transportation planning meetings. I've helped form a lot of plans. It's time to stop planning and start implementing. I propose my city government do the hard work so that the question, what is the city doing to improve bicycling safety, can be answered like this. We are educated. We have key traffic engineers, police officers, and planners that have been through training and understand what visible, predictable, safe, and courteous riding looks like. We understand the predictable, repeatable, and avoidable physical hazards of sidewalk riding and the legal hazard as well. This knowledge is reflected in the information we provide the public, the facilities we build on the streets, and the traffic and roadway plans that we develop. We educate. Together, our police, planning, traffic engineering, health, and parks department provide 3 free opportunities each season through 3 different community centers for adults to learn how to ride safely on the streets, and we have similar age-appropriate classes for children. Also, we've produced a series of PSAs that we refresh annually and release each bike month, showing our expectations for safe, law-abiding riding and safe, law-abiding driving. We enforce. Each year since the previous fatality, we've issued more tickets to drivers for crosswalk, sidewalk, stop sign, and texting violations, and more tickets for riders for crosswalk, stop signs, and wrong way riding violations. We believe this has contributed to less car, bike, and car pedestrian collisions. We provide a safe and functioning on-street riding environment. All of our on-street bicycle facilities, sharrows, and bike lanes take into consideration the very real danger of encouraging on-street riders to ride to the right of potentially right-turning drivers. We're 3 years into a 5-year program to convert all actuated traffic signals to a new technology that will allow bicycles to be detected. When the program is complete, riders on low-volume neighborhood roads can expect to be able to safely cross higher-volume, higher-speed roads without exhibiting unpredictable red light running behavior to drivers. And finally, we make it clear through signage and other ways that predictable, visible, safe, and courteous riders are welcome on our roadways. Our mayor is engaged. Our mayor understands that the pursuit of happiness has a lot to do with mobility. Therefore, once a month, our mayor rides to work so that he better understands the roadway experiences of citizens that day after day use bicycles for transportation. Once a month, our mayor walks to work 1.5 miles on Minnesota Avenue so that he better understands the roadway experiences of citizens that day after day walk for transportation. Finally, our money is where the growth is. We recognize that the 2014 Long-Range Transportation Plan Market Research Survey shows a citywide increase from 1999 of 400% for bicycling and 500% for walking. Therefore, spending has risen accordingly for bicycling and walking related transportation needs, street, traffic engineering, planning, etc. Thank you for your 5 minutes or more. I invite council to engage me further on these matters at any later date. Thank you.
Mayo, thank you. And that was 5 minutes and 54 seconds. Welcome.
My name is Chris Parsley. I'm president of Falls Area Bicyclists, and I am working with Mike. I have a solution that I think the city should really seriously consider. Bicycle and pedestrian program managers are common in many U.S. cities, and along with other transportation planners and bicycling advocates, they're a critical part of creating a bicycle-friendly community. An analysis of 40 of the largest U.S. cities show that cities with bicycle and pedestrian staff have higher levels of bicycling than cities without any staff. Bicycling program managers institutionalize the consideration of bicycle accommodations throughout transportation departments and other relevant areas of government. Bicycle program managers direct planning efforts, they develop and implement projects, ensure design guidelines are being followed, improve bicycling-related policies. 80% of the cost of a bicycle and pedestrian coordinator can come from federal funds, such as the Surface Transportation Program or the Congestion Mitigation Air Quality Improvement Program. So the city would only be on the hook for 20% of that person's salary. The Alliance for Bicycling and Walking surveyed the 50 largest U.S. cities to find out how many bicycle and pedestrian staff they employed. Of the 40 cities that responded, only 2 did not have any staff dedicated to bicycle and pedestrian issues. The cities with the largest bike staff were not the largest cities. Minneapolis was number 46, one of the smallest cities in the sample, yet they have 19 paid bicycle and pedestrian planners. Minneapolis has the largest bike staff in the country. It also has the second highest rate of bicycle commuting. What impact do bicycle and pedestrian staff have on bicycling levels? The U.S. Census Bureau's American Community Survey measures the percentage of workers who use the bicycle as their primary mode of transportation to work. Comparing staffing levels to the commuter data shows that larger bicycle and pedestrian staffs are correlated with higher bike commuter levels. The cities without any bike staff had the lowest average commuter share. A city with the size of 4 people on staff as bicycle planners, they saw a 10 times greater bicycle commuter share. Cities without any staff at all, you saw very minimal bicycle commuter share. This shows that cities that make a serious commitment to bicycle planning see a greater return on their investment than cities with fewer or no staff at all. Bike staff levels also correlate with overall bicycle friendliness. The League of American Bicyclists Bicycle Friendly Community Program has designated Sioux Falls 2 times in a row as a bronze bicycle friendly community, which is proof that we've been moving in the right direction. But to go further than bronze for a 3rd time, we need to invest in the 5 categories of bicycle friendliness: engineering, education, encouragement, enforcement, and evaluation. Cities with large bicycle staffs are more likely to have accomplished more for bicycling in their communities than other cities. The most bicycle-friendly city in the sample was Portland, Oregon. They have a larger staff than everyone except Minneapolis. Their bike commuter share is 6%. The bike commuter share in the state of South Dakota is 1/2 of 1%. Without planning for bicycling, Sioux Falls Transportation Network is incomplete. Employing bicycle and pedestrian staff shows that our community is committed to a comprehensive transportation system that are critical in integrating bicycling into our city's plans and projects. Their impact is measurable. Bike commuting levels and bicycle-friendly community recognition patterns show that larger staff investments lead to better bicycling outcomes. The route to higher levels of bike friendliness is best planned through the combined efforts of the city having at least 1 staff member focused full-time on bicycle and pedestrian issues, bicycle advisory committees, and advocacy organizations such as Falls Area Bicyclists. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. Folks, would anybody else want to engage the council? Yes, sir. Welcome.
Good evening. Scott Kuznicki, Sioux Falls resident.
Hi, Scott.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, thank you for providing the public with this opportunity to provide you with input and to be a part of the process. What we've been talking about this evening with paratransit and bicycling is really a quality of life issue. And when we compare ourselves to other cities, we could measure all kinds of metrics And I think one of the things that we want to look at is, why do businesses and people want to come to Sioux Falls? Part of the reason businesses want to come here is because they know that the tax structure in the state of South Dakota is advantageous. People come to Sioux Falls because they know that we have a low crime rate. But I think in order for us to be more competitive, we need to recognize what people are saying about the opportunities that paratransit presents for people that have limited mobility, and the opportunities that bicycling presents, simply because bicycling is a great way to get around. Now, I'm a traffic engineer, and I'm also a bicyclist, which is a frightening dichotomy. But those two things can work together. And I want to echo the comments that these two gentlemen presented to you this evening. And I hope that as a council, as you engage in the process of looking at the budget for the coming years, even if you can't do all of the things that they're asking for, there's nothing wrong with starting small. $25,000, $30,000, $50,000 dedicated to transportation improvements specifically related to bicycling, not just on street but off street as well, to improve the wayfinding, to make it easier for families and commuters to get around in Sioux Falls on a bicycle, is going to be something that will improve the quality of life in this city. And one of the things that this city has done just recently is on Main Avenue. You probably noticed the reduction in traffic lanes and the creation of some really interesting and exciting public spaces. And we are hoping, as a city, to engage people in their downtown, to engage people in their neighborhoods. And public spaces that everyone can use are a vital part of that. And so I encourage you as a city council, take it from a traffic engineer. Bicycling is important. And when it comes time to start funding it, I hope that you look at the plan and realize that it's a serious matter. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate it. Mr. Weiderman, you certainly had the opportunity to engage the council. Are you asking to engage them again?
Yes, I am. Robert's Rules of Order does not forbid me from doing so.
If you could just wait, Mr. Weiderman, Council Chair, I'm going to defer to you. You are the council chair of this council. I know you do your best to try to represent them. I will let you decide whether you would like Mr. Weiderman to continue to engage the council.
I don't see any reason why we should preclude him from one more time, Your Honor.
Mr. Weiderman, proceed.
Going by what you said for a rebuttal and the gentleman over there, I never inferred that anybody from the city council or yourself had anything to do with the nightmare that a friend of mine went through. But I have talked to Mr. Erpenbach previously about the threats that have been made to me personally a numerous times. I even had to change my phone number because of threats I was getting. I'd be sitting here and that camera, somebody would call me and I'd have my phone on silent and it would say unknown. Well, I'd answer it, of course, and it was a threat. Why are you sitting at that so-and-so council? Thank you. But I just wanted to clarify that I never inferred that it was anybody from the city council.
Thank you, Mr. Weiderman. Thank you. Folks, is there anybody? Welcome. Nice to have you here.
Hi, everyone. My name is Katie Stassen-Barnes. I wrote a letter to Mike. Not used to speaking in front of people, but
you'll do fine.
I concur with the FAB president in hiring someone that's a professional city bike planner. But I did have a few ideas myself. I've lived in a lot of different cities in the United States. I've lived in Denver, Olympia, Washington, Bend, Oregon, some really bike-friendly cities. Woo. And they're doing things much better than we are here. And we certainly have some areas of improvement needed. I just have a few ideas. Some bike lanes, an arterial bike lane system within the city that is well planned and has wide, visibly marked bike lanes and signage. A lower speed limit on those streets. The streets need to be sort of a web that connects the center of the city to the bike trail from multiple routes. I'm envisioning a sort of compass with the center being downtown and multiple routes at each degree heading to the trail at the perimeter of the city. Number two, increased bicycle awareness education and possibly this in the South Dakota DMV testing process. Driver's ed programs possibly. Maybe an ad campaign for bicycle safety, like a Share the Road campaign. Number 3, our bike trails are awesome. We ride them almost daily, but there's a lot of areas of improvement that would help with the city. We need to widen the bike trail to have 4 clearly marked lanes. And there should be a fast lane and a slow lane on each side. I'm so nervous. I'm sorry, I'm not a public speaker. This is new for me, but there are people riding 25 miles per hour on the bike trails, and there's kids weaving all over the bike trail, and it's just really dangerous for everyone involved. So I think 4 lanes would really help out. The trail needs to be open, all 20-some miles of it, during the summer months, when there's certain parts of it that are closed for construction. People are having to go off the bike trail and go into the streets, and it's really dangerous for everyone. I think if we expanded the bike trail to have routes that went to some of the neighboring cities or towns, Canton, Harrisburg, Brandon, T, some of the competitive cyclists would have a better place to go faster, and it'd be safer for everyone, that it would decrease the serious cyclist traffic on the main bike trail, and it would be fun, and it would be a good thing for the community. Another thing is adding roundabouts to Sioux Falls streets like 26th Street to break up traffic and make drivers pay more attention to the roads. Those are just a few suggestions. Thank you.
Did a good job, Katie. Thank you. Welcome. And folks, if there's anybody else who wants to speak, if you would just get in line, it just makes everything more productive and efficient. Welcome.
I don't have anything prepared.
Can you just tell us your name first?
My name's Marilyn Zimmerman.
Thanks, Marilyn.
I'm another member of the Falls Area Bicyclists Committee and also, or club, and also on the bicycling committee with Sam, who I have to tell you guys, he has done a wonderful job. And I first want to reiterate the request for a full-time bicycle planner. And one of the reasons I think it would appeal to everyone, because you all have to be fiscally responsible and fiscally minded. It definitely is a great return on investment and a great community attraction for businesses. And bicyclists have a lot of money to spend, so if the city is friendly to bicyclists, we're going to come here, we're going to come to events. West Hall is now part of the city. He organized Ragbri for so many years. So there's a lot of really fiscally huge benefits to having a healthy and safe bicycling facilities. And I do want to commend the city, too, for having the beautiful bike trail that we have, and just, you know, former mayors and people years ago who set it up. I've lived in Sioux Falls for about 34 years, and I've seen it improve, and it's just definitely we're on the right track. So I just wanted to reiterate that it's good for the city, both safety-wise and fiscally-wise. So thank you.
Thank you, Marilyn. Folks, anybody else want to engage the council